Hi guys, I'm Sushmita.
Hey guys, I'm Shalini. Welcome to our podcast, Fashionably Awkward.
Today we have Vidya joining us. She's an illustrator, surface pattern designer, usually known by her brand name, that is the Wishing Ink. Vidya, welcome to our podcast, and we are so grateful to have you on our podcast today.
Thank you. The feeling is same. Thank you so much for inviting me over. I was at first little skeptical as to now how am I going to contribute to your channel? It's like
Mhm.
fashionably awkward, and I have nothing to do with fashion. But then I
Yeah.
understood, okay, I do have something to contribute to the fashion world because I'm a surface pattern designer.
Yeah, perfect.
And then I understood, okay, so yes, it fits. I fit in there. So I was like more than happy to be a part of this and you know uh, like share my experiences and my findings with you all.
Lovely, lovely. Could you start by telling us a little bit about what you do and how your journey started?
So basically, before starting the Wishing Ink, I was working as a graphic designer for 2 years in
Okay.
Mhm.
Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. It was a
Mhm.
very small startup with fun people, and I still to this day talk to those. It was not like I quit like out of rage or anything. No, it was just because those 2 years I felt like the learning was there, but my creativity side was like stuck. It was
Mm-hmm.
not
Mhm.
going anywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to quit my graphic designing job, and I think it was just in a whim that I thought like, okay, maybe I'll take a break and let's see where this goes. So I took a break, and in that break is when I was exploring Instagram. And back then, it was like completely photo
Mm-hmm.
app.
Yeah.
And there were
Yeah.
no reels and anything of
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
sort. So
Mhm.
I just started posting like my drawings because in that break is where I was like, trying to explore my creative side as well, the whole point of the break. So I was just posting things that I was learning. So back then I was very much into brush lettering, calligraphy,
Mhm.
Mm.
and hand lettering as well. So it started that way, and suddenly I got a lot of offers from people asking me to teach brush
Oh.
calligraphy because it's a new thing,
Mm.
and this is in 2017.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the start. It happened there, and at that time I didn't even know like I'm someone who could teach people. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm just exploring, and I was like, I don't know if I can teach people, and they were like, no, this is something new, and a lot of people want to learn this, and there are not much teachers out here who teach this. So I was like, okay, chalo, let's do it, and that's how my teaching journey kick started.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
on the other hand, I was also doing a lot of lettering work in the sense like I was doing calendars. So if you see, my products are mostly a combination of florals,
Mm.
botanicals,
Yeah.
and this kind of lettering that we call as brush calligraphy. So it's a
Mhm.
modern style of calligraphy. So it started that way in 2017, and as offers started coming in, I decided, okay, I should have a proper brand name for this. Like
Mm-hmm.
earlier, it was just Vidya Designs, like very common thing, very common name, like Vidya and Designs. And then I decided, like, okay, that's not how this is gonna go. Let's decide a proper brand name. And I went with the Wishing Ink because at that time, a lot of
Mhm.
people wanted me to, create birthday cards
Mm.
or wedding invites. It was something about wishing someone, like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a sentimental wish. So I was like, okay, why shouldn't it be my brand name? And that's how it was like the Wishing. And ink was just one of the medium that I was using
Yes.
back then. But
Mm.
then as I started exploring, now it's like, started with ink. Then it went on to watercolor, and
Mm.
then it went to gouache,
Mm.
and then digital. And it's like if you're an artist, you keep exploring and you keep
Mm.
exploring different mediums. So that's how the whole journey of Wishing Ink started, like, with me quitting my job and, trying to take a break and
Mm.
figuring things out. And this was totally unplanned. Like, let me tell you, like, none of this was ever planned in my life.
Mm.
Okay. I was
But
thinking, okay, I'm just taking a break. And in that break, by
uh-huh.
the end of the break, I'd probably, apply to some other
Mm.
company and,
Mhm.
Mhm.
be done with that life. But
Mm.
no, I
Mhm.
think universe had other plans for me. And I did get a job offer at that time, but you
Mhm.
get this gut feeling
Mm.
like,
Yeah.
don't do this. I passed the test. the company
Mm-hmm.
wanted me, but then I was
Mhm.
like, something is not feeling right, and I don't know.
Mhm.
I'll sit on it for 3 days and I'll come back to you with an email. And then I was like, no, I'm not taking the offer. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And within few months, I
Mm-hmm.
collaborated with the same company as an artist, like,
Oh,
my brand
wow.
and their company. So I
Yeah.
Mhm.
understood, okay, why I went through what I went through back
Yeah.
then, that
Yeah.
feeling, that gut feeling is because
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
So yes, none of this was planned, but I'm just glad that I listened to my heart and to that gut feeling especially,
Mhm.
and
Mm-hmm.
went ahead with it. So yeah, that's how it started for me. And eventually, like as I started exploring different mediums, I got in a collaboration with a brand called Happy Wagon. It's a
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bangalore-based brand, and that's when my whole surface pattern design story started.
Started.
Okay, so before
Okay.
that, I was just doing standalone illustrations
Mhm.
and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, but never pattern illustration. But
Mm-hmm.
after collaborating with that particular company is when they asked me, like, can you, do something like this because we want pattern designs on our product, is when
Mm-hmm.
I started learning. And that's when that part of, like, pattern journey part of my life started. So yeah.
I'm curious to know about your educational background because you said that everything was unplanned. So I want to know what education background you come from and how did like this shift happen.
Okay, my education background has nothing to do with what I'm doing right
Graphic?
now.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
wondering.
So I have a degree, undergraduate degree in BTech,
Oh.
Agricultural Information Technology, which
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
had something to do with agriculture and the IT sector combined together. And
Okay.
but I very well knew by the time I was in my second year, like, this is not for me. I'm not supposed to be here.
Mhm.
And then I told my dad, like, I don't know what to do. But he was like, chalo, you're already in your second year, finish another
Mm-hmm.
2 years,
Mhm.
and do whatever you want to do. So once
Mhm.
I was done
Wow.
with my 4 years, I was like, I did it in the reverse way. Like, everyone does a diploma and then they get into,
Mhm.
BTech,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
something like that. For me, I did BTech and then I got into diploma, and
Diploma.
I did a diploma in animation and graphic designing, and that's
Oh.
exactly where art,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Came
came
to.
Came into
back
a
into
picture.
my, yeah. And in that diploma, I wouldn't say it was in a proper college. It was from an institution, so it was for 2 years.
Mhm.
And the foundation was laid there for my art, because we learned everything from sketching to using different softwares like Photoshop,
Mm-hmm.
Illustrator, and everything.
Yeah.
And so when I quit my job, I wasn't using these softwares, but having that foundation actually
Mhm.
helped me very well
Mhm.
when it came to pattern designing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you use these softwares to design patterns. So
Mhm.
having an understanding about that I learned in my diploma sort of helped me. And it was not like I was when a brand is asking me to design patterns, I was not in a place where I have to start from scratch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I knew I knew certain things, and I knew the software well, so it was really, I wouldn't say
Helpful
easy,
in.
but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
helpful in a way where I could, like, understand certain concepts and give the output that the brand or the collaborated company wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
yeah, it has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and it does make sense. Like I have used a little bit of Photoshop and Illustrator, and I can tell that they are the way it works is very similar. So if you know one of them, you can kind of understand how to work with other, and you can give the required solution or the required designs based on which
Yeah,
software you're using. So I think that must have really helped you to navigate your now pattern making side of things, because it would make your work very easy now.
yes,
So,
yes,
so I
yes,
think, yeah, I
exactly.
think everything in your journey kind of helped you now.
Like I said, it for me it was like, maybe it was happening in the background. Like, everything does actually fit in place when you see right now. But
Mm.
when it was
Yeah.
happening for me, I was like just going with the flow is what I would say. Because
Mm.
in my mind I hadn't planned any of these. Like, yes, I did take a diploma in graphic designing and
Mm.
animation because I just wanted to, get in touch with art again,
Mm.
bring back art in
Mm-hmm.
my life again. Uh, but did I know what I wanted out of it? Was no. When I
Right.
joined, I was just curious. And
Mm.
I would always
Mm-hmm.
say this, like, I'm going to answer this question later in your podcast. But yes, I was way too curious, and I was like, there's not this certain like I want to do this by the
Hmm.
end of the course,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
this is what I want
Mhm.
to become. Nothing planned as such, but I was just enjoying the process of where I was going. Like, let's say if they are teaching me a new software, I was just curious about that software. Like,
Mhm.
how is this working, or what kind of an art can be created with this, and how can this help me bring my imagination to life? And that whole process is what I still enjoy, because
Mhm.
and no matter whatever field you are in, learning is something that never stops. Like you
Hmm.
Yeah,
keep
correct.
learning and learning and learning, and you've got to stay curious no matter what. The day you stop being curious is the day I think your creativity
That
actually dies.
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, so yes, so for me, everything was happening in the background, but I didn't realize it. But by the time I realized it, I was like, I think it was just that feeling, okay,
Mhm.
this is what we are meant to do. And I
Yeah.
think that came for me, that realization happened in somewhere 2020, just right before
Mhm.
COVID. Like I understood from 2017 to 2020 is like, a lot of things happened. Me
Mhm.
starting to experimenting, then becoming a teacher, doing offline workshops, doing so many other like wall art, mural art. And like I had been in different places. Like I wouldn't say like people would know me only as an artist, and still to this
Mhm.
day I like to call myself as an artist first, and
Hmm.
then I would be like I'm an illustrator and a surface pattern designer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so yes.
But very interesting. I feel that's the best way to operate in life, that just enjoying the process and not attaching yourself to the final result. Then you have more opportunity to explore things and finally, eventually, like meet to the destination that you're meant to be part of, you know? So I feel that's quite interesting. Now, coming back to your designs, um, because your designs, like you use your patterns to create journal and calendars and other stuff too, right? So my question is, like, how do you amalgamate aesthetic with functionality? Like, what is your process?
So basically, I don't start right away with, the design. When it comes
Mm-hmm.
to these kind of products, yes, functionality is important. So let's say if I'm designing a calendar or a planner, which is like a stationery site, the first
Mm-hmm.
thing is we probably decide as to, first thing would be the theme, if I'm following any theme. And
Okay. Mm-hmm.
sometimes as an artist, you would be very much attracted to a certain theme,
Hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it would not fit well with the audience,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is also like, you have to love creating or
Mm-hmm.
love doing what you do. Your art is supposed to be there, but at the same time, when it comes to designing for product, you also have to see a lot of other things like what's trending,
Hmm.
what is that people are actually, looking for. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I think when I started my journey, I always wanted to spread positive vibes through my art. So
Mm-hmm.
you would see like a lot of my work is like I said, florals and with something that is a quote, a handwritten quote or
Yeah.
a brush lettered quote. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
what I usually tend to do till this day is, for me, if it is any product, let's say a book or a planner or anything, the moment a
Mm-hmm.
person buys it, it should give them a positive vibe, not just positive vibe, but that motivation.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
as an artist, I go through a lot of creative blocks from time to
Mm-hmm.
time. And I
Hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
it's not just for an artist, it happens for most of us in
Everyone.
different
Yeah.
fields. Yeah. So what I am designing is an everyday product that you would be, it would be on your desk, or it would be
Hmm.
somewhere that you would be seeing, like, calendar is something that you would be seeing every month or every day to just check your date and day. And planners as well as like something that you take and, jot down what are you going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
all these things, when I decide, the first thing I do is like, design is secondary, but
Mm-hmm.
what is the feel that the person would
One
get?
should get.
Hmm.
Yeah, not just when they're buying, but
But
every single day when they're using.
Using it. Yeah.
makes
Right.
sense.
So
Yeah.
even if it's a home decor product, it's not just
Mm-hmm.
about the design, it's about, a lot of things because when it comes to Indian homes, our home, some of us are very into minimalistic aesthetic and some of
Yeah.
us are like maximalist. So we have like bright things and stuff, and then we have very
Mm-hmm.
neutral stuff going on. So you have to like find a midway, like, if it's
Mhm.
both the way. And yes, so I wouldn't say there's just like some formula, but I think
Mm-hmm.
you just blindly go with what you know, that is your design, like you have your style, but at the same time also understanding your audience. So for me,
Mhm.
initially when I started, it was really hard because it's not easy to get that data, like what people like or what
Mm-hmm.
your followers especially like
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So I think I had to do a little bit of test and trial with
Mhm.
Yeah.
few products, and some
Mm-hmm.
of them were hits and a lot of them were actually failure, to be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So you can't say like, all the products that I ever made were like just sold out or something like that. Nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my own test and trial error methods, and yes, so I came to a conclusion where first I decide as to what my product conveys, like what kind of emotion it evokes,
Mhm.
and
Mm-hmm.
based on that is when I start putting up the designs. Now, designs are something that keep changing because,
Mhm.
trends.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
much as a lot of artists would hate to, follow the trends, but sometimes you're forced to do that,
You got to
Yeah.
do
no
that.
matter
Yeah.
what. Yeah, because if you see, gingham patterns have been there for a very long time,
Long
but
time.
it wasn't noticed until the movie Barbie came in, and her whole dress was with this pink gingham patterns, and
Mhm.
that's when
Mm-hmm.
gingham patterns actually started trending. Like
Mhm.
before
Yeah.
that, it was there, it was there, it was there. You would see it in so many different products, but you didn't actually bother to,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like even see it as something. But once the Barbie movie came, and then there was gingham patterns everywhere. So that sort of created a trend. It's like a
Mhm.
trend setter. So
Yeah.
every once in a while, there will be some kind of element or a motive or style that sets the trend. And yes, you don't have to necessarily follow it, but if you feel like, your product or the trend together, like your art and the trend and whatever you're trying to, give out to the, what do you say, audience, all
Audience.
come
Mm-hmm.
together, yes, you can follow the trend. But
Mhm.
I would say not completely compulsory, like
Mhm.
100% it's not compulsory.
Right.
Sometimes you have to also, um, you know, satisfy the artist in you, and you always
Mhm.
can't be
Yeah.
okay with the trend. So at
Mhm.
those times you
For
actually,
sure.
we call them as personal projects. And that's what we call them. So you get to work on whatever you want to, do, experiment, or like what is that
Mhm.
you feel like, drawing. For me, it's most
Mm-hmm.
of the time like florals, botanicals, and stuff like that. But if you see,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the trend chart,
Mhm.
florals do trend,
Mhm.
but it's like, florals are everywhere, like everywhere
Mhm.
in place. So if you want your product to stand out, then you definitely go and look into what is trending currently. What are
Right.
people looking into? So you
Mhm.
would see there was this space after COVID where, there was a lot of products that came out which were more about mindfulness
Mhm.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Before that, it was not a big thing.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
everything was there, but at certain time it becomes a trend,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
so you have to like I said, there's no fixed formula. You just have to, do a lot of research and see what is working and what's not working. Sometimes follow the trend, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you
Mhm.
just blindly trust with your, art and stuff.
Instinct. Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to, even though if you don't like it, like as an artist, sometimes we don't like what is trending. For
Mhm.
example, the
Mm-hmm.
current Pantone color is something that is so irritating us. Like it's just white. It's just cloud white. But
Dance
then you have to
cloud.
create patterns with such kind of a color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no matter what you would see, you would hate this,
Mhm.
but then you have to also stick to it. So
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
So for me, I think this is how I've been like, working when it comes to actually deciding as to
Mhm.
how I want functionality and aesthetics and also my art all together, come
Together.
together and then make like as a final product. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you just pointed out, like there are many trends that go on. Like from 2017, you have seen many different trends like gingham, different patterns and all that come in and come out. And also there are many other people also who are making different patterns and surface patterns and like and working with all sort of patterns that are available. So how do you like give the personal touch to your design? Like what is that one essence that you put in it which makes it you gives it that your signature style to it? What is that element that you try to incorporate in more like your designs? What would you say about that?
So for me, I'm a big fan of texture. So
Mm,
I like to add a lot of textures into my pattern. So
mm,
if you see it, it's not always very plain. There
okay.
will be some sort of texture to it.
Okay.
And at the same time, I think it's also about the style that's very unique to each and
Mm,
every artist. Like
right,
if you
right.
ask five artists to just sit and draw a sunflower, I
Mm,
think each of us would draw it in a very
very
different way.
different way.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
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 So I think the style that is very unique to an artist that is
Mm,
there. And top of that, I think there are certain things. So a lot of us love watercolor texture. A lot
right.
of us love, some sort of abstract textures and stuff like that.
Mm,
So
Yeah.
for me, I am someone who loves to add this nice, like gouache. Like that's the
okay.
medium that I'm very obsessed with. So
Okay.
I usually, if it's traditional patterns, I usually create with gouache. So
Okay.
gouache has this nice
Okay.
matte finish to it,
Right. Mm.
right? Whereas watercolor has a transparent finish to
Transparent
it.
finish to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
if you ask me, am I into watercolors? No, I'm not
Mm,
definitely into watercolors. But if you ask me, I really love anything that has this nice solid finish to it, matte finish
Mhm.
to it, and at the top also has some nice texture added to
mm,
it.
mm,
So in my art, you would usually see all these three together.
okay.
And it's also about the color palette.
Mm,
So you would also notice a lot of artists do have a very neutral color palette.
mm, mm,
And
Yeah.
for me, I'm not into neutral color palette. I
mm.
love bold and vibrant
Bright
colors.
colors.
And
Mhm.
I'm someone who's a big fan of like cottagecore theme.
Mm,
Okay.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that whole vibe in it. It's not very vibrant kind of colors. It's
Yeah.
still muted colors, but it is kind of like, you have these nice olive greens and like nice maroons and,
Yeah.
reds and
Mhm.
oranges. Yeah. So I am more into that. So yes. So these are the kind of, what do you call it? Signature marks that you could see in my
Mm,
pattern, where it is more about the color palette I choose, the
mm.
style that is very unique to me, and also the texture that which is I love. Like for me, I cannot be without adding texture. Even my classes, you would notice that I have a separate section where I teach them like how to add textures, which is because it gives more depth according to me. So yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Makes sense. Because you pointed out that teaching, like you teach this in your class too, but how did that journey started for you teaching? Like, because it's so different from the creative world. So
Yeah.
how did that happen?
You have
So
classes,
like
Skillshares as well, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, like I said, when I was starting out in
Yeah.
2017, the first thing I was exploring was brush lettering. And back
Hmm.
then here, I don't know about the entire India, but for me, the southern part of
Hmm.
India, no one was actually doing it at that point.
Mm,
And even when I learned it all by myself, watching YouTube videos. And that too, at that time, only people from like abroad, like, other countries, foreign countries were teaching it. No
mm,
one in India was teaching it. So
Yeah.
it was like I said, I never started learning it in a way to be like, okay, I'll be teaching this to someone. No,
Teacher.
it
Yeah.
is something
mm,
I wanted to learn. I was very curious about that style and I started practicing a lot. Like for months. You wouldn't believe I just started and gave up.
mm,
Like I was like,
Hmm.
no, this is not my cup of tea because usually in calligraphy, you have to like adjust your strokes and you have to
mm,
apply pressure, and that
Yeah.
requires a lot of
Your
muscle memory.
patience. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, and especially with brush pen, the
Mhm.
pen is like the tip is very flexible.
Yes.
Okay, so
Mm,
Yeah.
it's almost like a paintbrush, but just
mm.
imagine that you have to like be
Control.
very careful. Yeah, you have to have the control with
Mm,
applying pressure and everything.
right.
So when you look at a YouTube video, you usually feel like, yes, I can do it.
Do it.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it happens. Okay, but when you try it, you feel like, oh, okay, this is not like what you see
As
on
easy.
for them. And we also don't understand that someone who's teaching, they have a lot of experience.
Experience. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. They make
and
it look
you
effortless. They
Effortless.
make it look so. effortless that you think, oh, even I can do it. But the
Yes,
reality is
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was also in that phase where I thought like, okay, I think it's about the pen. So if you buy
yeah.
fancy pen, I think you'll
And
obviously get it. And I got the fancy pen and I didn't get it. I was so disappointed. And then I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing this. I just gave up on this. And I think after a month I came back to it and I was like, no, there should be some way, and I think I need a lot of patience. And I gave myself that time. And I also went with the same YouTube video, but what I did was instead of watching something where someone is teaching something advanced, I went to like someone where I went looking for someone who's teaching it step by step. You
Mm-hmm.
oh,
get it?
okay. Huh.
Yeah. So someone is breaking down the whole the whole
Process for you, huh?
process for you. So
Mm.
I was like looking for someone. I did find someone, and then I started like learning it. Like okay, it just doesn't start like just like this. No, you have even to make that particular small stroke, you
Mm.
need to know how much pressure you need to apply and
Right.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. So these are like small things which you would just shake it off and be like, no,
Mm.
I want to do it right away. I want to get it right away. Like this moment, if I just take the pen and it should magically just happen. We all are like that. When
Yeah.
we are a
Yeah.
beginner,
Yeah.
we all are like that.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I decided to be like a complete, if you're going to be a beginner, if you want to learn this, then stop attaching yourself to being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave up that whole being perfect part of me and I decided to sit and be like a proper learner and I'm going to do this the proper way, no matter how much ever time it takes. So it took me 3 months to actually get it properly, even that one single stroke. And that's why I always tell my students, like, just stop wanting to be perfect.
Mm.
And again, there's
Yeah.
this whole proverb saying, like, practice makes perfect. So you need
Mm.
to give yourself that space
Mm.
to allow yourself to practice, and only then you achieve that perfectionism. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not also going to happen in a month.
Mm.
Probably it might take even a year, but you should give yourself that space.
Time. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, space and time.
Totally.
So that's how it started. So I think I learned that if I'm going to be a teacher, then
Mm.
I'm also going to teach everyone step by step. I'm not going to be that teacher who's going to be like, magically just
Jump into
happen.
something. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying like, a YouTube video is a great place. There's a lot of
Mm.
people learn from YouTube and, have become great
Master
in
into it.
their
Yeah.
field and
Mm.
everything. So I'm not mocking YouTube or people who are teaching in it.
Mm.
But what I want to say here is why I chose Skillshare is because Skillshare is a platform where you sort of feel like you're teaching this wide audience
Mm.
which are all over the world,
Mm.
and you also get this platform where you can interact with them,
With
whereas
them.
in YouTube
Mm-hmm.
your video just gets lost
Mm.
among
Yeah.
thousand other videos. Like,
Right.
yeah, but for Skillshare, it's not like that.
Mm.
It's almost like you don't need to market yourself out there or be like, I'm a teacher, I'm a teacher, I'm teaching this, I'm teaching this.
Mm-hmm.
You just put your class out there and say about it once or twice to your audience, and
Yeah.
that's it. People are just going to search, and in the search, if your class is up here, then you're just going to,
Yeah. Students will
get
come.
paid and
Yeah.
something. And this is actually a subscription-based model. So I feel like people who really want to learn would actually subscribe for it and,
Yeah.
get access to all the videos.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like Skillshare has been a great platform. Though I do want to, establish myself on YouTube, but I feel it's like a lot of work compared to what is on Skillshare. But yes, at this point, I would say like, we as an artist come, maybe when I launched it, it was in 2017 and like my Instagram and it was completely photo related app. But now things have changed and it has become completely a reel related app. And, for someone who just enjoys her process of creating and gets really nervous when, someone is shooting or filming, even though it's just
Mm-hmm.
me,
Mhm.
yeah, that happens a lot.
Mhm.
So I think we artists, though we complain a lot about algorithm or how things have changed, we also are like, we have no choice but to go with what is at the moment, working out. And I feel like for a lot of us. So we feel like, reel is a lot of work, but then we have to do it no matter what, even if we like it or not. So for me, I felt like instead of putting too much of energy into these reels or say like a YouTube at this moment, I felt like Skillshare, teaching,
Mm.
though I love teaching. So it's also important about, like only if you love doing something, you would want to, do more.
Put
Like for
your
example, though I love creating art, but I don't know much about video editing or
Mm.
videography. So I sort of hate that process. But with Skillshare, I have actually outsourced that process. Like I go to a studio and they help me out with it. So I just do my work
Mm.
and people are there around helping me to, get my work done. And that's how class gets published.
Mm.
So for me, I'm just happy in my zone creating, and other works are being done by someone else, and then there's a class out there. But when it comes to Reels or like YouTube, I think I have to. Even YouTube, I can outsource it, but it's still a work in progress. But with Reels, it's like, you have to sit and, you have to like,
edit,
mostly I get like, torn apart between do I want to create or do I want to film?
Mm.
That is
Yeah,
always there.
Yeah.
So for
that's
me,
a real
yeah.
challenge for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I think teaching has been an outlet because I just don't want to be too much focused with reels, the views, the likes, and stuff. So when I am on a platform that is not all about like views and stuff, and it's just about
Engagement.
learning and, teaching and stuff,
Mhm.
so I'm quite happy with that. So for me, teaching, though it started like an offline workshop with 40 people, and from there it went on to be traveling to different places within India for like workshops and stuff. But post-COVID, things stopped because everything went online. So that's also when I decided, okay, I am also going to go online. So I've stopped offline workshops and I either teach online or I teach on Skillshare. So teaching is been like what do you say, a big break for me when I feel Instagram is really overwhelming for
Overwhelming.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
Yeah, so
totally understand your point where when you see so much content on social media, on YouTube, and then you feel the pressure of creating that content, and it's too overwhelming, then you cannot focus on the art itself or the work that you are doing. And you lose the enjoyment out of it because you're thinking about, oh, I want to record
that
this, oh, I want to post this. It's too much
it
work.
sucks
I
the
can
joy.
get it. Yeah. It
It
just
sucks
kills
the
it.
joy.
So I think the Skillshare part, or the part where you have started teaching online, I think that must be very fulfilling because you can see like end users using it, interacting with you and showing probably
Yes.
post. I don't know how it is on Skillshare. Do they get to post pictures there, or like how?
Yes, yes, they do post their finished projects. They
Yeah.
do add reviews and stuff like that. And so always it makes my day when I see a review and people
Yeah.
are like, your class helped me achieve this, or I was struggling with this and your class
That's
helped me.
lovely.
So I think these reviews are the reason why, you enjoy creating these classes in the first
Mhm.
place because it's sort of like a motivation.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, the validation, of course, as an artist, you don't need external, you don't need to seek external validation, but we are humans and we tend to, seek external
Yeah.
validation
Yeah.
most of the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
So yes, so I wouldn't say this is an, desperate seek of validation, but these kind of reviews actually help you understand, like, okay, you're doing the right thing and
Yeah.
people are actually benefiting from your class.
Yeah.
So that is kind of a positive,
Yeah.
look at seeking validation. So I'm fine with that validation.
Yeah, and in many ways,
That is,
I think it also reminds you of you, like when you were trying to learn calligraphy and all online. So I think it also gives you that satisfaction, कि, okay, I am doing something where people are also learning from the things that I am learning. So it's a nice feeling. I can understand that.
So now we'll move on to the next segment of our podcast, which is a fun segment called Rapid Fire Round. So, what's your pattern personality in 3 words?
I would say warm and cozy and colorful. Yeah.
Okay,
Sweet.
interesting. And how would you describe your entire artistic aesthetic using like one awkward object if you have to think of?
I think it would be a um, hand-me-down, floral, what do you say? Nice crockery set. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Because
nice.
Good.
I
This is
really love vintage,
Okay.
and I
Mhm.
really love, like I said, cottage core aesthetics is
Mm.
currently my theme in
Obsession.
life and everything. And
Yeah.
I always look for floral patterns in those, those 80s and 70s era
Mm.
of wallpapers
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
home decor items, which were completely different. Like, they were full of pretty, pretty stuff and pretty things, which I feel like not to be like, cribbing about the recent, what do you say, the change that has come with all the designs, but
Uh-huh.
we are not into neutral and
Mm.
minimalistic stuff. And
Yeah.
somewhere, for me, I feel like, where's the color? Where's the color?
Where's the
Where's the
details?
pop of
Where are the
color? Yeah,
details?
So,
where's the too much
uh,
into I do love that aesthetics. I think that works perfectly fine for a lot of people. But in India, for someone who's like, grown up watching all those colorful
colors
stuff
and
in India,
yeah.
like, our houses used to be filled with things that nothing matched. Like
Yeah.
Oh
one
my
thing and the
God.
other would be
Yes,
Every
yes.
like
every Indian
Every
household is
room
a
like
has a
that.
sofa.
different color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sofas never matched with the pillow cushions, or like, the bed sheets never matched with the
Yeah.
pillowcases and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then
Yeah.
suddenly you put everything like neutral color, beige and white, and like, all those things. And I'm like, no, no, this is not how I grew up. And I am a 90s kid,
Kid,
and,
huh?
I'm still stuck there, like, that
Mhm.
nostalgia feeling of all those things. And suddenly I see someone like, with just white wall. But white walls is fine. Even I enjoy white walls, but the furniture being very neutral, the
Beige,
curtains being
neutral.
very
Huh.
neutral and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, dude, I'm a surface pattern designer and I design for a living. And when I see things that don't have any design, it's like, it kills me a little. Like I would feel like, you can throw in not just color, but at least you can throw in a little bit design over there. And,
Yeah.
it is definitely going to add a lot of character to your home
Mm.
than to
Mhm.
what it is right now. So yes,
Totally feel you. Although I'm obsessed with all minimal stuff and neutral because that's my aesthetic, but I feel where you're
no,
coming
no offense.
from. Okay, a pattern that you would never create again. Never.
Gingham, never.
Okay.
I see.
Okay.
I'm done. I'm done with it, creating it and looking at it everywhere. Like gingham, like done. Please create something else. Like there are so many ways in which you can create a checkered pattern,
Mhm.
but
Mm.
gingham, I'm
Mhm.
totally done with it.
A motive that feels like your artistic signature.
Floral,
Floral.
botanical motif
Floral?
any
Yeah.
day. So if you take any style, I
Cute.
would only want to paint it, design it with a floral first and then
Mhm.
experiment with other geometric forms or whatever it is, but floral.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It also comes through your work. Like I was going through your Instagram and it shows the love for like nature and floral patterns. Like I can see like you tried different colors on them. It's really lovely to see that on your like socials. It's fun.
You so much. I was actually born in like Erkard, which is a hill station. So you get
Okay.
to see a lot of, flowers, mostly in the hill station areas, no matter which hill station it is. So when you're surrounded with, so many flowers and stuff like that, it sort of is natural for you to, pick that thing first.
Aesthetic, yeah, 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 yeah. So, so moving on, before we wrap up this podcast, we will move on to our favorite segment, that is fashionably awkward moments. It is known as awkward edits, where we basically would like to know about any of your awkward experiences while working or related to fashion that were very awkward, and would want to forget it, but we would love to discuss it with you. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't say I want to forget it, but I would share like one also work and one also with,
yeah.
like fashion. It's not actually with your the dress or something, but usually when I work, I put my hair into like this sort of bun, and I one time I did it, I couldn't find the, clip or something, so I just took my brush and sort of did that,
Yeah.
and
If
I it was fine until I was at home. But
Hmm.
then I also
Mhm.
had to go out, and I just went out like that, like with brush in my messy bun, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I didn't realize that
Hmm.
until a lot of people were looking at me like a weird way, like why is there this? And it was not a small brush; it was like this huge ass brush that was in my hair. And people were like, why is she having a brush in her like hair? And I
Hair.
was like, for a very long time, I didn't know like why are people looking at me like this and stuff like that. And then when I met my friend and she was like, dude, you have a brush in your hair. And I was like, okay, now I understand. And so henceforth, anytime if I go out or something, I'm very, very cautious. Okay,
Do I
I
have any
haven't,
brushes?
accessorized with my brush or anything that has to do with my, materials or something. So
Yeah.
this was there. And the work one is, I think a lot of artists would relate it to, like, you have your coffee mug and then you have your water with which you're
Oh
like
my God.
cleaning your paintbrush,
Oh,
and
oh,
then you
oh,
accidentally end up drinking
oh.
it. Many
This
a times
one
that
is,
happens, like you're super focused and you have both right next to you, and just you don't even see it. Like you're not even looking at it. You just
Yeah.
pick it up and you're like taking a sip like this, and then you're like, why does it taste like it's so chalky or something? And then you realize, okay, I've taken.
hilarious.
Oh my
Yes, so
God.
I think this is something happens with a lot of
Every
artists. I've seen a lot
artist,
of them
yeah.
share.
Yeah.
Yes, they have like, there are also reels on this, like, they accidentally end up drinking the paint water
The
instead
paint
of
water.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Fun.
So I
Very
think
fun.
these two are a little bit awkward, but one thing just happened in public, but one thing is something that happened personally, so that's fine.
And I think happens too many times to count at this point.
Yes, so we always make sure that we end up like you cannot have. I really sometimes think like how do people have this sip and paint parties? Like don't they just
Yeah,
accidentally end up sipping the
actually, now that you say it, I'm thinking, how do they manage to do it? They must be mixing wine with the paint
it
water.
happens. Accidentally you put your brush into that, or accidentally you end up picking and drinking the water with which you clean your brush. So either way, something would end up happening. So
For me, it's for the first time I'm hearing this, but quite interesting. Now I would attend Sip and Paint to just watch this happening live.
Yeah.
I
This
always been curious about the sip and paint parties just because of this, like, how
Yeah,
does
nice.
Great, great. It was lovely
so
talking to you, by the way, Vidya. It was amazing to see your journey. And on behalf of our audience, we would like to thank you so much. And knowing all the different aspects of how transitioned your career and are doing so many different things. You trusted in your gut feeling and chose what felt really right to you, and you got so many nice opportunities after that. So that was very inspiring to hear. And yeah, I would like my audience to our audience to explore your page. We would share your Instagram and YouTube links and Skillshare links also here. And yeah, I would urge them to check your page out and your workout.
and thank you for having me over here. Like I said, giving me this platform to introduce me to your audience. And it
Hmm.
was really fun because it's been a while since I've been interviewed and had this fun chat with people who actually vibe with whatever I say and
Yeah, it
talking
was fun
arty
for us
stuff.
too.
And thank you once again for having me and Ruchi and Sham, Sushmita. It was fun talking to you and interacting with you guys.
Same
Thank you
here.
Yeah,
so much.
like
Thank you for being a part of our fashionably awkward banter. You can listen to this podcast on all podcasting platforms. You can get in touch with us on Instagram at fashionably.awkward. We are super active on Insta, so come say hi.